Hey, what's up YouTube? This is EV Variety, and I'm here with a quick, very brief review of Alphacore. Now, if you don't know what Alphacore is, it is the third comic book released in the Rippaverse, which is a new comic book company that started last year. We had Isom 1, which I thought was pretty good. Nothing too complicated, nothing blowing my mind, but it was a pretty decent start to the universe, right? To the comic book universe. And we had Isom 2. I regret not having the plastic, not keeping the plastic coverings for this, so I could keep it in mint condition, but they are still in very good condition. I haven't messed up these at all. I've been keeping them pretty safe. But Isom 2, not exactly what I wanted from a second issue, but it was still pretty good. Like, I enjoyed it. It was fun, great art, great action, and very few little mistakes here and there, which is expected for a brand new company. It's kind of expected for you to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes for sure, and I have made mistakes in the digital ones, in digital comics. And if I catch that, if someone catches that for me, then I will go back and edit it. But it's different when it's a physical thing, right? But yeah, so this one, Alphacore, outshines both of them, and I'm going to tell you why I think so. And I'm going to do it without spoiling it. I'm going to do my best to not spoil this thing, because I want you to read it, because it's very good. It's less expensive than the first two. They managed to get the price down, which is good, and I think it's worth the money. It's pretty freaking good. So I'll go ahead and explain. I think this is better than Isom 1 and 2 because it tells a very complete story while still leaving you hooked for more. Like, it still leaves you wanting more, right? And that's what a good comic should do, especially for a first issue in the series of Alphacore. That's exactly what it should do. And this is very much like, the type of conspiracy thing where, like, there's a thread of yarn going every direction, and it all leads to, like, eventually this one place. That's the type of antagonist that they're dealing with. And on the surface, they're dealing with guys like this, right? They're dealing with guys like Billy Bob. You can't see him. They're dealing with Billy Bob over here. And yes, I have ad block. This guy is hilarious. I love the idea of just this hillbilly with freaking magma fire powers, and just being able to do that at any time. And this trailer, by the way, is freaking amazing. Like, I'm gonna play with the sound off, but this animated trailer is so good. And see, a criticism I had of the last I'm trying to get a good frame. Yeah, there we go. A criticism I had of the last trailer for Isom 2, because I had an animated one for that. The criticism I had for that was that the trailer didn't advertise what really happened in the comic. It was a little bit misleading, which, I think that trailer was supposed to represent more so, the future than it is with that comic. But it made me think that there was going to be a rematch between Isom and this big guy on the front cover. Like, it made me think it was going to be Isom versus Chadron. It was going to explain the backstory, which it does. It explains the backstory between these two characters. And the trailer made me think that there was going to be a rematch. And that did not happen. And I was kind of disappointed because I felt like that was going to be a better personal story for, to develop Isom's character, to show him overcoming this monster that, he had a run-in with the past. And I'm not going to go into spoilers, but, I think, for me, I would have been far more interested in that story, which I know eventually they'll probably get to it. But I was under the impression that was going to happen. This trailer is 100% accurate to what happens in this comic. Like, everything in this trailer pretty much happens here. And I was very pleasantly surprised by that, because this trailer made me really want to see what this was about. And I'm glad to say that what it's about is very good. The story, as I said, it is a self-contained, fulfilling story, right? There's some bad guys that are introduced that are defeated. Mild spoilers, I guess. There are some bad guys in this that are defeated by the end of it. I won't say which. There are some events that happen that are dangerous, that are settled, and ultimately our heroes get one step closer to exposing the real threat behind the scenes. And that's about as much as I can do without spoiling it. And comparing this, right? Comparing this to Isom, especially Isom 2, the comparison there is that Isom 2 sets up a second non-attached threat compared to the first issue of Isom setting up this main threat of like a criminal underground. Well, the second Isom issue has this other threat that's going on that's completely unrelated, and I highly doubt they're connected. They are so drastically different, and it makes, you know, it sort of feels like with that, almost like they're trying to go for like a, you know, Saturday morning cartoon, like new villain of the week type of thing, but it doesn't really get resolved that much, right? It doesn't. There's not too much of a resolution. Sure, you know, they're able to, mild spoilers again, escape from the threat with you know, their lives, and there's, you know, they're able to save someone, right? They're able to rescue someone, and that's like a victory of itself. But it doesn't feel as satisfying as the ending of Alphacore. Alphacore just has like, and I know why. It's because it's written by Chuck Dixon. All right, Dixon has had like freaking, was it over 30 years experience of writing. So I mean, this guy, if anyone knows what to do whenever he's writing a comic book, it's this guy, right? And it shows. No offense to Eric July as a writer. I think his first time writing anything, I think it's pretty good. You know, there's obviously some things that I have, you know, small complaints about, but overall, I don't have any major complaints with Isom 1 and 2. Nothing major that makes me not like it, right? I enjoyed both Isom's experiences. But Alphacore, just like, man, it's on a whole nother level, right? It's on a whole nother level. And, you know, knowing that the next book, Yaira, is going to be written by two other, you know, very experienced professional writers, the Saska sisters. It's going to be written by them, so, you know, I'm confident that that will also be very good as far as writing-wise. Let's talk about the artwork. Me, personally, I'm not as big of a fan of, like, I guess the attempt of hyper-realism in comics, because, like, it's not hyper-realistic, right? There is style to it. It's not, like, just a picture of a person with a comic effect, right? It's not that. There's just certain shots where the expressions of characters just don't really look the same. Like, I don't know, there's sometimes where characters will look fine, and then the next panel they look like hideous. Like, I don't know what it is, but like something about it, like they get hideous over a single a single page of artwork, and then they're back to normal. And you know, nothing against Joe Bennett. He's a good artist. That much you know, you can't really debate too much. He's had so much success in the comic book industry. But it's just, for me, that style is not for me. I much rather prefer this, the animated trailer style. I prefer this type of style for, you know, cartoon, a comic, whatever. I like it when it's more, I guess, maybe simplistic is the word. I don't know. Maybe cartoony is the better word. But yeah, and nothing. Again, I think the artwork here, especially the background stuff, there's so much going on in every page, and all of it looks good. Like, nothing stood out to me except for a few faces that just look kind of ugly. Which not every face has to look beautiful, right? But if it's a main character and they look fine one page and the next page they look ugly, I kind of had to bring it up. Again, kind of slight critiques. Not every face you draw is going to be like perfect. Not every face you draw is going to look the exact same. It's just that some of this stuff, to me anyway, just kind of looks a little ugly, right? But the characters, I really like the character of Bry, which is the main character here, Brian. He is very much the type of military macho guy. He's also not the smartest guy. There's something in this that makes him look kind of dumb. There's a really funny screenshot that I took. Well, not a screenshot, I guess. a photo with my camera on my phone, where he's like, he has this face like he's pulling the shades on, like, oops, like that kind of thing. He, I'm not going to say he's not a thinker, but he's definitely not as smart as some of the other characters introduced in this series. You got Braxwell, which is like, you know, much more silent and everything. And I cannot, for the life of me, remember the main girl's name. I still can't do it. I don't understand why I can't remember this character's name. I don't get it. But but yeah, she's really good too. I really like her character. She's kind of sassy. She has this really nice little character development with a police officer character. It's a really nice little development that they have. At first, I kind of look at this and I'm like, this guy is a little bit sus, a little bit weird, but you find out why that is, and like over time, you know, it's just one issue, but during that time, you get to see like the characters do actually like grow and like, you know, start to respect each other a lot more, and it pays off at the end. Like, it pays off so extremely big in the end. And again, you didn't really have that with Isom 1 or Isom 2. There wasn't really a payoff that, you know, there wasn't a setup and a payoff that, like, really made the ending satisfying. And from here on out, I'm going to do a little bit more spoilers because I just can't avoid it without talking about it at this point. At Isom 1, he beats up the guy. He gets beat up by this big dude and sent to the hospital. Well, he gets out. He doesn't do really anything different. He just goes back in there to fight again, and he wins. There's not really that much. There's no, you know, physical change. Maybe there's a mentality change, but it's not very, you know, clear and obvious. It's not, it doesn't have to be extremely obvious, but, you know, me reading it, I read it twice, I don't really see a notable change other than maybe he talked with his sister, and maybe that, like, changed his mindset to something. I don't know. I couldn't get it, really, why exactly he beat the guy up the second time, compared to the first, but, you know, again, since Eric July is a beginner writer, you know, I can forgive this kind of stuff. But Chuck Dixon just knows how to do it, right? He just pops this stuff out, like, evidently so, right? And I'll be honest, like, I'm not the most experienced with, like, you know, big name comic guys like Chuck Dixon or the Saska sisters. I'm finding out a lot of, you know, history and names that I didn't know until I, you know, started getting into comics myself. Not too long ago, you know, it was only about like 4 years ago, that I started getting into comics and you know, the industry around it and stuff. So I'm still relatively new to this stuff, but, you know, after reading Alphacore, I want to read more Chuck Dixon comics because this stuff is good. Like this is just a really great self-contained story. It has a great character arc in it. It has great characters in it. I love the villains. I love, like, some of them are kind of one-dimensional, right? But the ones that aren't are a little more interesting. The ones that are a bit more complex, those are the ones that are, like, driving the plot forward. The others are, like, kind of more so, like, the obstacle, right? But yeah, so, I mean, this to me, I almost want to say that this would have been a better start to the Ripperverse than Isom would have. But at the same time, I understand why Isom was the beginning. It's a personal thing for Eric July. And I definitely think, you know, if this had to come out third, if Alphacore had to come out third in order to get Chuck Dixon on board, then I think it was worth it then, because this was very, very good. Yeah. What can I say? Well, I'll tell you what I can say. Go buy Alphacore 1. It's very good. Oh, yeah, you don't need to read Isom 1 or 2 to understand what's going on in Alphacore. It is kind of, you know, it's set in the same universe, but it is its own story. The Alphacore does appear in Isom 1, and so does Yaira. Like, both of them appear in Isom. And that was kind of a criticism from Isom, was that it kind of shows characters for the sake of showing characters and introducing a universe, which is, you know, again, beginner writer, and it has to set up a universe. I'm fine with that. I'm not gonna be overcritical of it, but that was one of the complaints about Isom 1. But yeah, Alphacore, super good. If you want to start the Riververse with Alphacore, do it. $3 million campaigns. Isom number 1 got 3.7. Isom number 2 got 2.5, I believe. And then this one's well over $1 million already, and it should be more than that. The only reason it's not probably is because the price is reduced. And that, honestly, I think this one should outsell both Isoms. I think this one is far better. So, thanks so much for watching. If you want to watch more of my content, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos and go live. I'll try and do some more live streams at some point this week, but it might be later. I don't know. Follow my social medias to stay in touch with, you know, seeing my artwork and seeing progress for Little Miss Steel. I've got a video coming out about that pretty soon, so stay tuned. Until next time, peace out.